Today I review Sony Pictures' next attempt at creating their own cinematic universe with the movie Morbius. Directed by Daniel Espinosa and starring Jared Leto, Matt Smith, and Adria Arjona, we follow Dr. Michael Morbius, who tries to cure himself of a rare blood disease, but instead transforms himself into a bloodthirsty vampire.
Yes, I want this.
Now, this is Jared Leto's second portrayal as a comic book character, first one being the Joker, which was not good. But with his portrayal as Morbius, I thought Jared Leto did well. Leto plays the character as if he's exhausted. He speaks very softly and slowly. His eyes are lifeless. Every time he moves, he looks like he's in absolute pain. And all that works for me because Morbius is living with this rare blood disease that's slowly killing him. It makes sense that he'd be exhausted. Even when he becomes a vampire, he still looks exhausted because he's trying to restrain himself from murdering people, which I'm not a vampire, but I assume that's exhausting too. It was a realistic take on how a person would behave if they were put through the same things that Morbius was put through, so props to Leto for that. And for what he's given to work with in this movie, I thought Leto did the best that he could, and I personally wouldn't mind seeing him as the character again, albeit in much better circumstances, like in the MCU. Morbius is one of those movies that would rob me. I would give them my money, and I got nothing in return. And it was mainly the story. It gave me very little to care about. It started off strong. I cared for Morbius in the beginning, but after the first act, it was like the plot was trying to rush to the end. It gave no time to properly develop the story, which is the most important thing you should do when making a movie. Otherwise, people won't care about it. And if people don't care about your story, then your movie will underperform. First off, Morbius has a love interest with Dr. Martine Bancroft, and besides working together for a few years, the movie doesn't give you a real reason as to why they're in love, as they don't have any on-screen chemistry. They didn't give me no "aww" moments. The only reason they got put together was because Morbius has a penis and she has a vagina. Yay, heterosexuality! I'm a sucker for romance, but don't give me none of those forced romances. If a movie's not gonna take the time to actually develop a romance in a realistic way, then don't put it in the movie, because Morbius and Martine could have easily just been friends. Then we have these two detectives who's trying to uncover the mystery behind Morbius and these vampire attacks, and they don't even have a big impact on the movie. You would think them actively pursuing Morbius would create a lot of tension, like, oh my gosh, when are they gonna catch him? What are they gonna do to him when they catch him? But no. There's a scene where they actually arrest Morbius, and then he just breaks out of his cell, just jumps right out the window. Took him 5 minutes. So that made me think, oh, okay, these guys are obviously scrubs that I'm not supposed to take seriously, but then why are they even here? The movie took that time to show me how worthless these guys are compared to Morbius, so why are they taking so much screen time? Like, if the detective angle of this movie was taken out, the story would have been the same. And then you have the villain of the movie. His name is Lucian, but they call him Milo. But he's based off the comic book character Lakshas Crown. Like, the movie doesn't even know who he is. I'm just gonna call him Milo. But Milo is the wealthy best friend of Morbius who's also dying from the same illness. And these two grew up together, they love each other, they're basically brothers. But then out of nowhere, Milo becomes the bad guy. And not just a regular bad guy, he becomes the mustache twirling, I will kill people because it's fun type of bad guy. And I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? At no point beforehand did it hint that Milo had any of that darkness in him. Like, yes, he was desperate to get a cure for his illness, but that's not enough for him to turn into a full-fledged villain like that. This dude was bloodthirsty. So when this sudden change happened, I was surprised, but not in a good way. It was like a confused way. Like, it doesn't make sense. Now let's talk about Morbius himself. Morbius is a Spider-Man villain. He's a sympathetic villain, but he's still a villain. This movie is supposed to lead to a movie about the Sinister Six, which is a team of villains that want to kill Spider-Man. But the issue with that is that this movie doesn't make Morbius a villain. They make him a hero. So now the question becomes, why would a heroic Morbius want to team up with villains to kill Spider-Man? Bro doesn't even know Spider-Man. Spider-Man doesn't even exist in his universe. So why would he have beef? This movie never explores the villainous side of Morbius, which is the side of Morbius that you need if you want him in a Sinister Six movie. Instead of having Morbius fighting Milo and restraining himself from being a vampire, they should have had him losing control and killing people and fighting a technologically advanced police force. Because if they do that, they, one, make Morbius a sympathetic character that you care about, because even though he kills people, you know he can't control it and that he's trying to fix it, and two, it makes him a villain, which makes the path leading up to a Sinister Six movie more believable. But this movie leads me to believe that Morbius is a hero, which means that him eventually fighting Spider-Man makes no sense.
What is the verdict?
Morbius made the same exact mistake that the Amazing Spider-Man 2 made. They were so focused on creating their own cinematic universe that they forgot to make the movie building up to it any good. This movie was so lazily written and it was a complete waste of time to watch. It's movies like this that make superhero movies look bad. Sony needs to just cut their losses and sell the rights to the Spider-Man universe because they've consistently proven that they don't know what they're doing and that they don't really care. Morbius makes me so angry, I'm gonna rage quit. So Morbius, did you see it? What'd you think about it? What's your favorite animal? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this review and you want to see more, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss anything. Thank you so much for watching. Now hit the theme music.